Hello, everybody. Today I am flying from Sao Paulo in Brazil to Buenos Aires in Argentina. This is my first South American flight on the new channel, I believe. So I'm excited to fly. We're going to be flying the LATAM airline, which is a uniquely South American airline that was founded in Chile. So let's go ahead and get this plane started. Let's get it rolling. Right, how are you guys doing out there? We're gonna turn on seatbelt lights, having logo lights on, no, no smoking auto, supply on. Add gears 1, 2, and 3. Turn on these fuel pumps. And okay. Alright, getting that smoke detector alert. Okay, alright, fantastic. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we got that APU fire test done, so I'm just gonna go over here to the fly pad. And we're gonna get some information going here. We're gonna load the aircraft, boarding and refueling. Okay. Go to ATSU.
Refueling truck is on its way.
AOC menu, flight to NIT.
Please don't load
Data
aircraft until the
request.
fuel truck arrives and ask to do it.
Okay. Go to init. Let's put in some important data here. So we're flying from Sao Paulo, SBGR, to Buenos Aires, SABE. Okay. Flight number, we're going to be LATAM, so LAN 4811. And cost index today 44. Cruise flight level 36,000. Okay. And then let's take a look at our flight plan. If I can get this
Fuel
pulled
truck
up.
is in position. Please don't load aircraft until the fuel truck arrives and ask to do it.
So today it looks as if we are going to be departing on runway 10 left on the Zors 2 Alpha, and then transition upsod. Okay, fantastic. And I'm gonna go ahead and open up the door here. Take a look outside, see what's going on over here.
Passengers boarding starting.
Okay.
Please use your airplane fuel system to set the desired fuel quantity.
Yes, I will use the system.
May I see your boarding pass?
Config, fuel.
Good morning.
Okay. Let's go to the cabin really quick.
Por aqui, por favor.
And that guy's just hurrying down the aisle, trying to get to his seat as fast as possible. I think that's Will Ferrell.
Hello.
And that looks like Joe Burrow.
Posso ver seu cartão de embarque?
And that looks like a guy who played the villain in Iron Man.
Posso ver seu cartão de embarque? Hello. Por aqui,
Okay.
por favor.
Alright, in the meantime, let's go ahead and do some things here.
Hello.
I'm going to write down my clearance here. I'm going to take a look and see which frequencies are available. So,
Good morning.
got ground on 121.7, okay.
Bem-vindo a bordo. Olá. Hello. Welcome me on board. Hello. Good morning. Posso ver seu cartão de embarque? Hello. Good morning. Olá. Bem-vindo a bordo.
Okay, so we've got that data put in. I had to write down our clearance
Good
because,
morning.
again, we're flying internationally, so a lot of the clearance is verbal as opposed to pre-flight. So I went ahead and wrote that down, and then let's go ahead and put a
This way,
frequency in standby here. So it should be 121.7.
Hello.
121.7 here.
Welcome me on board.
Okay, 121.7. Fantastic. And
Hello.
there we go. Alright. So now what I'm going to do
Bem-vindo a bordo.
is... Alright, so now that we got that taken care of, let's take a look at the MCDU again. Okay, the fuel is still ticking up. This is going to be one of the longest flights I've ever done. I think the only one as long as this was Stockholm
Posso
to
ver seu cartão de
London.
embarque?
So we're going to need a lot of fuel. Flying from Sao Paulo to Buenos Aires is a longer flight than I thought, actually. For some reason I thought those two places were closer, and they are not. But hey, we get some beautiful scenery along the way. That's what's important.
Hello.
Man, are we going to need 8,000 kilograms of fuel for this? Woo!
Hello.
Alright, well, let's see what happens.
Bom dia. Hello.
Man, this is a lot of fuel, guys. This is a lot of fuel. Goodness gracious, I think we're gonna break 8,000. I mean, we might not, but we'll see. It's close.
Hello.
Yep, we did it.
Hello.
We're over 8,000, guys. Come on. Man, oh man, that's a lot. And so everybody's taking their seats.
This
Everybody's
way, please.
getting into their spot. Goodness gracious,
please.
man, how much fuel does this need? It's a lot more than usual, I can tell you that.
Hello.
And are we gonna need 9,000 kilograms?
Hello.
You would think we were flying across the Atlantic.
Good morning. May I see your boarding pass?
Alright, we're over 9,000 kilograms.
Welcome me on board.
It's got to stop at some point. Okay, there we go. Alright. Whew. Alright, I thought that was just going to keep going just indefinitely. Alright, so now we can kind of get going on the rest of this pre-flight stuff. So, let's go ahead and put in our waypoints. Okay. Part T. A. AR. Go. I-N-O. Okay. A-B-O-D-E. Abode. That's cool. U. X. Okay. K-E-N-T. We're almost there, guys. Just getting closer and closer. Okay. Alright, so that's all the waypoints. Let's go ahead and put in our arrival information. We're going to be on the Zulu for 13, or runway 13 Zulu. And, yeah, we could double check that. Yep. So Poppy to Quebec. Yeah, there it is. And aha, okay. I'm gonna clear the flight plan discontinuity here because in some cases you need it, but in some cases you don't. This is a case where we don't. Okay. All right. So we've got that taken care of. I'm going to go to init. We're going to go to the init fuel page, send some more fuel data, check the wind, minus 41. Okay, fine. We got a little bit of a headwind. That's fine. Okay, and we're going to go to performance, flaps 1. Let's do our speed calculator here. Calculate 2, 3, 4. Okay, we got a lot of people on this plane apparently. Okay, we got those speeds put in. And let's put the altimeter in the ATIS 1023. Okay. And, okay, so move some of this really quick. So now it's just a matter of getting the luggage loaded. Let's take a look outside and see how that's going. Appears to be going well. That's good. Alrighty then. Okay. Fantastic. Alright, so now what we're gonna do, we're going to go ahead and talk to the radar if they're still available. I'll listen in for a second and make sure I don't step on anybody. 1.7, yeah, that looks to be our frequency, okay. So I'm gonna get ready and maybe just talk to them for a second. Let's see how it goes. Sao Paulo ground, hello, this is LAN Chile 4811 Airbus A320 at stand 605. We have information Bravo on board, QNH 1023. Request IFR clearance to Buenos Aires.
LAN 4811, welcome Sao Paulo ground, advise ready to copy.
Ready to copy, LAN Chile 4811.
LAN Chile 4811, you are cleared to Buenos Aires as filed. Maintain flight level 360. Runway in use is going to be 10 left, Zorza 2 Alpha departure with transition UPSOD and squawk 3763.
Cleared to Buenos Aires via the Zors 2 Alpha departure transition UPSOD. Expect flight level 360, 10 minutes after departure. Climb as filed. Expect runway 10 left, squawk 3763 for LAN Chile 4811.
LAN Chile 4811, read back correct, call for push start.
Call when ready for push. Thank you, LAN Chile 4811. Alright, we survived. Aha! We survived the all-important clearance phase, which internationally is always harder than in the US, which is a whole nother story. Okay, great. Fantastic. So, let's go ahead and, alright, so let's go ahead and get this going. So what we're going to do is start the AP. Well, actually, before we do that, let me go ahead and just put in the initial. I'm gonna have to open this chart. I have to look at the initial altitude. Okay, so there does appear to be an initial restriction of 9,000. So let's just go with that, because he said as filed and he didn't really give us a direction. So let's just go with 9,000, because I think that's what the chart is wanting us to do. And then let's put in our squawk. Will be 3763. Okay. Okay, and all right. So there we go. All right, let's start the APU. Thanks for your patience with me. You know, pre-flight is always a process. It's always one step after another to do pre-flight, so thanks for sticking with me. outside just. Okay, so APU's avail. I'm gonna go APU bleed. Disconnect external power. Beacon lights on. Strobe lights auto. Okay. And okay. Now what we're going to do is tell. Just prepare for pushback and departure.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback. Departure checks completed. Bypass pin inserted.
Okay.
Locking gear.
Sao Paulo ground, LAN Chile 411 is ready for pushback.
LAN Chile 4811, pushback and start approved on Yankee 6, call for taxi.
Push and start approve on Yankee 6. Call when ready for taxi, LAN Chile 4811. Okay. Well, that's good news. Means we can get moving. Good. Alright, so Yankee 6. So our tail needs to go right. And let's tell Phoenix about this. Okay.
Release parking brakes, please. Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at wheel.
Man, that Portuguese accent is fantastic. Alright, we're moving, guys. How about that? Alright, one of the engines is probably getting close to being available. It's engine 1, let's start it up. Okay.
Please set parking brakes.
Yes, parking brakes.
Waiting your confirmation for your engine start.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
Unlocking gear.
Alright, engine 1 should be available in just a second. Ignition to middle. APU bleed off, APU master off. Gonna arm speed brakes and flaps to 2 for taxi. And turn runway, turn off lights on, taxi light on. And now we're gonna call for taxi. Buenos Aires ground, Lanchile 4811 is ready for taxi.
Tow track disconnected. Bypass pin limo.
Lanchile 4811,
Left is
taxi
clear.
via Kilo
Right is
Alpha
clear.
Golf, hold short 10 left at Golf, QNH 1023.
Taxi via Kilo Alpha Golf, hold short 10 left at Golf, QNH 1023, Lanchile 4811. Okay, so we're gonna taxi Kilo Alpha and then Golf. Okay, and then we're gonna hold short of Golf at our runway here. So okay. Alpha Golf. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get rolling.
Gol 1996, seu microfone parece que o botão fica sendo apertado e ativa e desativa. Não sei se, mas a voz parece clara.
And that Portuguese is fantastic. Love it.
Continua similar, parece que aperta e desaperta.
Alright, so we're gonna taxi via Alpha. Oh, Nelly. Whoa there. Gonna taxi via Alpha for quite a ways. Gol 996, ainda continua igual. Tenta chamar a Torre São Paulo e 132 decimal 750 só pra ver se o problema é comigo.
Maravilha, eu vou manter aqui.
Chile 4811, contact Gordeus Tower 132.75. Thanks. Enjoy your flight.
Contact tower on 132.75. Thank you. Have a great night, Lanchile 4811.
Good night.
Okay, so we're being handed to the tower, which makes perfect sense in this context. Okay. 0 left. Okay. So, let's talk to tower really quick here. 132.750. And let's see if we can have.
O 996 de volta para Pacific.
O 996 positivo, ainda persiste o problema, senhor.
Obrigado por averiguar o que está acontecendo aqui.
Sao Paulo Tower, hello, this is Lan Chile 4811, holding short of runway 10 left at Gulf.
Land Chile 4811, Weather Tower, good evening, wind 160 degrees with 3 knots, runway 10 left, clear for takeoff.
Runway 10 left, clear for takeoff, Lan Chile 4811, thank you. Okay, those are the magic words you're waiting to hear. Get going. Alright guys, go. Okay. Positive rate of climb, gear up. Lever climb is flashing. Throttle. S-speed has been reached, flaps.
Land Chile 4811, Sao Paulo 119.60, have a good flight.
Contact Sao Paulo on 119.60. Have a great night. Really appreciate you, Lan Chile 4811.
Thank you, sir, have a good night.
Okay. 119.60. Okay, so that's going to be Sao Paulo radar. Delta 1011 Aviation. Hello, long time, man. Hey, it's so good to hear from you, man. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Thank you for joining the stream tonight, man. You picked a fun night because this is the first one over South America. And it's the first one of me using TAA resolution because I was sick and tired of those square trees. Okay, so we're going over to Sao Paulo radar, which is above us at the moment. Sao Paulo control, okay. Alright. Sao Paulo control, hello, this is Lan Chile 4811. I am inbound Golf Romeo 027 at 6,600 feet, climbing 9,000.
Land Chile 4811, radar contact on departure, passing 7,000 feet. Climb to flight level 360 unrestricted.
climb to flight level 360, launch Chile 4811. Wow, so they're giving us basically cruising altitude almost right away. Man, Brazil is great. I love you, Brazil. Amazing. Never happens, by the way. But I love this. Okay. So we can probably go ahead and turn these landing lights off. Runway turn off lights off, turn these taxi lights off, disarm the spoilers, and yada yada yada. And yeah, let's take a look outside where all the fun is. What livery? This is the Latam livery, and it's a South American airline. And
Launch 4811, fly direct to Dodge.
Fly direct UPSAD, launch Chile 4811.
Guru 929, voo direto do Lomé, autorizado 6.000 pés. Ajuste 023.
Okay, I don't know what you just said.
Altitude por 929.
6.000 pés, Guru 929.
UPSAD.
Direto do Lomé, 6.000 pés, 929.
Okay. He's giving us a shortcut. So I will gladly take that shortcut. I mean, that's nice of him. Okay.
Guru 926, após o aumento autorizado do ILS, tinha que dar no 0 direita.
Após Lomé, autorizado do ILS, tinha que dar 0 direita, voo 929.
São Paulo, boa noite. William tem 58 no parque de Congonhas, informação alfa,
Ciclo 558, controle de São Paulo, boa noite. Autorizado do MON 250, seguir a rota do plano, esteio no 7 direita, Bahia 2 Alfa, transmissão de Bru, transponder 3747.
atualizar os instrumentos para o Santos Dumont, nível 250, sair da Baia 2 Alfa para o Amigo, transponder 3747, apertando para a direita, nível
558 com o desviamento correto, sendo bom puxa aceleramento.
Tá pronto, o pushback está no meio.
Igor 558, puxa aceleramento autorizado, cauda esquerda na 90, sendo bom táxi.
Entrando do código esquerda, 90, chamar para o táxi.
No 929 eu posso estabilizado na final da direita.
Bruno 929, chame Torre Guarulhos, Bruno 32,75, por favor.
375, obrigado.
O táxi, o Eagle 559.
Igor 558, táxi autorizado via 90, Bereco, ponta de pedra no site direita, 21024.
Bereco no sete direita. O aviso 024.
Chile 4811, frequency change approved, have a nice flight, bye bye.
Frequency change approved, thank you so much, Land Chile 4811. Oh, Delta 1011. Thank you. I'm glad you like the livery. It is an, I believe it is a. Oh, I think it's the first one. I think it's an A32232. And if anyone's watching and I'm wrong, feel free to correct me. Okay, so let me take a look at what our cruise altitude is. I believe it's 360. Yep, it is. So just sit back with the view.
Quando espera ela sair.
Segura 5 nós, 200, 1 noite, 0 graus, 5 nós, pista no Sérgio, atualizada a decolagem.
Verdade, decolagem está direito aí.
Delta 1011 says I'm leaning more towards 232 because of the sharklets. Yeah, I agree, 100%. Now let me take a look at the outside. See if I can use drone cam here. Yeah. I think you're right. We are flying over Brazil. We are on our way to Buenos Aires, my friends. Alright, so we've got about 600 miles until our destination. And I'm going to see if we've run into any... No, we haven't run into any radar sim. A little bit quiet on VATSIM over Brazil right now, but a lot of fun. What are you playing on? I am playing on Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, the new one, and still trying to understand how to make the graphics work to their full extent, but loving it. What are you playing on? That's what I want to know. Says I don't play, but I do watch. Hey, you know what? Sometimes watching is better than playing. Somebody else has got to do the stuff, so I don't blame you at all. I like to watch a lot of flight sim live streams myself. And the weather is very peachy. Let's go into drone mode. I love the drone. Drone mode. Okay. We're going into drone mode. Let's see what we can capture here. Okay. Alright. It's so good. You know, you guys are the reason I've got over 100 subscribers, so thank you very much for that. Back up a little bit for the view of what's going on. Now, normally you don't want to get this close to an engine in flight. But we do. You do not want to get sucked into that thing, let me tell you. Looks like from the back. Take a look at the back of this. Those lights. Get up close and personal here to the side of the thing. And in case anyone's wondering, this is not the actual time in Brazil. I do have the live weather on, so the weather is live, but the time is not, because that way you see more of the scenery. So, if you're looking at the time and you're like, wait a second, it's nighttime in Brazil, it's because if I had it on nighttime, you wouldn't be able to see any of the cool scenery outside, so I make it daytime in the sim, but the weather is very much live. For one thing, the way Batsim is now, like, you have to have live weather or you get busted. strap yourselves in because another 400 something miles to Buenos Aires, and we're flying real time, so it's gonna take a bit to get over there to Argentina, but we will get there. So please subscribe and hope you enjoy the sound of jet engine.